everyone! In this video, I'm taking you to Portland for a day of food and drinking. I was super stoked that I was able to go on a day trip because I head down to Seattle pretty often, and from Seattle to Portland it is about a 3-hour drive, so I really had no excuse not to at least head there on one of my weekend trips. When it comes to Portland, I always hear about the abundance of food trucks, so the first stop I hit up was a food truck pod called Cartlandia. It's about a 20-minute drive from downtown Portland, so it's more near the outskirts of city center. But we picked Cartlandia because there was free parking and it was en route to some other places we want to check out. My friend and I tried miso ramen and we had their miso ramen, which came with chashu, egg, and your usual garnish. The noodles had quite a nice chewy texture and the broth was not too rich. It's not the best ramen I've had, but comparing it to food truck standards, it's a very good bowl. After that, the weather got a little hot, so we decided to get a drink from Boba Plastic. I'm a huge fan of Thai iced tea, so we shared one, but because there is condensed milk, it tends to be really sweet, so as refreshing as a cold drink was, I would recommend you ask for half sweet if you are to order it. Otherwise, the flavors were very good. We tried one more food truck before heading to our next destination, and when I saw lobster mac and cheese, I immediately said that's the one we're having. Portion-wise, I thought it was quite good coming from a food truck, and the cheese did have a good creamy texture. I thought it was a little odd though because I was getting penne and it was supposed to be a lobster mac, but I was pleasantly surprised at the amount of lobster given. So all in all, I would recommend this food truck, but it can get a little filling, so share if you plan on trying other foods. While searching for distilleries and general alcoholic places, I came across a nifty store online called Mead Market, which I thought was worth checking out. Before heading in, I already was really amused with their sign. I thought it was pretty punny and cute. If you aren't familiar with mead, it's an alcoholic drink created by fermenting honey with water. You can add fruits or spices to enhance the flavor, and to me, it's pretty similar to white wine. I love this store. They had a huge collection of mead, the staff were knowledgeable and friendly, and other than buying and trying mead, you could also buy mead making tools and honey products like soaps, candles, t-shirts. It was a very chill place to hang, and if you're interested in learning more, I'd definitely check it out. Now, if you're a fan of your spirits, you should pay attention. I'm not sponsored by Distillery Road in any way, but I do feel it is a good deal, so I'm promoting it. Portland has a lot of craft distilleries, and if you want to check out a bulk of them and buy some, there is a Portland Distillery Passport. It's $30, but it gives you tastings at 11 distilleries along with a $5 gift card. The passport is good for whenever, so you can check out as many as you have time for and then save the rest of the passport for your next trip. The first distillery we checked out is Stone Barn Brandy Works. They are the smallest distillery in Portland, and what I loved about this place is they try to be as natural and local as possible. So all their fruit-flavored spirits are based on seasonality, and they're pretty limited. They started making whiskey when they ran out of fruits, and I'm not a big whiskey drinker, so I don't really have an opinion, but my friends seem to like it. My personal favorites was their aromatic pear brandy and peach liqueur, which was more on the sweet side. Next is New Deal Distillery, which is a little bigger, and they also offer whiskey making classes, which I thought was pretty neat. What stood out for me for this distillery was their ginger liqueur did have a very fresh, spicy ginger flavor, and their Mud Puddle Bitter Chocolate Vodka has such a delicious note of cocoa in it. I highly recommend it, and they also said it tastes great when you pour it over ice cream. They also had a Hot Monkey pepper flavored vodka, which I personally didn't have the desire to buy, but I did think was interesting to try out. Third stop was Eastside Distilling, and my favorite from this distillery was their Below Deck rums. Surprisingly, out of all the different flavors there, my favorite was their spice rum, which I found had a lot of complex notes that I enjoyed, and you can actually see the settlements in the bottle, which I thought was neat. Last distillery that we had time for was Rolling River Spirits. They're a family-owned and operated business, and the spirit I would try there is definitely their habanero pepper-infused vodka. It has just the right amount of kick to it without the spice lingering in your tongue. The owner's daughter is also a mixologist, and I had an amazing blueberry lemonade cocktail there. It was perfect for the hot weather, and I'm sure they tweaked the cocktail to fit the season. After all that drinking, I was ready to eat again. We checked out Grassa, an Italian cafe that served handmade pasta. You order at the front, they give you a number, you grab a seat, and then wait for your food. The menu might have changed slightly since I went because we ordered the squid ink pasta with cherry tomatoes, shallots, chili sauce, mint, and clams, but on the menu online it says fish. Either way, the pasta was really delicious. The squid ink had a great chewy texture, the sauce was savory and just the right amount of subtle sweetness, and the clams were not overcooked and we got plenty of it. It also didn't feel all too filling, so you were able to eat a lot of it without feeling totally stuffed. Next time I'm in Portland, I would want to go back and try their other dishes. By the end of the Portland trip, we had gone back to Seattle with something from each distillery, including Mead Market. Our collection contains the habanero-infused vodka from Rolling Rivers, Gin No. 1 from New Deal Distillery, Straight Whiskey 100% American Oat from Stone Barn Brandy Works, Below Deck Spice Rum from Eastside Distilling, and Sky River Honey Wine Sweet Mead from Mead Market. Overall, I had a great informative trip to Portland sampling food and alcohol. I know there's a lot more to Portland I have yet to discover, but for a day trip I left pretty happy. Here's a couple of tips I have for you. Number 1. Cartlandia is composed of about 30 food trucks, but while we went a little before noon, most of the carts seemed to be just setting up. My advice is if you want to beat a crowd, come early, but if you want a full selection, go a little later. Not sure if this stands for all food pods, but that's how I feel about Cartlandia in particular. Number 2, for those of you who have never tried mead, the one I purchased had a pretty subtle taste to it, very similar to Moscato wine, but with a sweeter honey aftertaste. If you're a fan of honey though and want something a little stronger, they did recommend one that was close to what the Vikings were drinking back in the day, and I suggest you try that and let me know how it goes. Finally, number 3, for the distillery tour, I don't have a very high alcohol tolerance, and I only have a select few spirits that I enjoy, so my friend and I shared one passport and we were pretty satisfied. But if you and your friends are big drinkers, I would suggest one per person, and of course take your time so you aren't wasted. No drinking and driving. Also, in terms of food trucks, I always expected Portland to be filled with amazing outside-of-the-box creations, but I didn't encounter any on my trip. Maybe I wasn't hitting the right places, but I think I would rather share more dishes with friends and hit up a couple restaurants than food pods. That's what I think I'll be doing for my next trip. So that's it for this video. If you enjoyed it, subscribe and join me on my next adventure. See you next video. Bye!